Don Clifton observed that. He observed the incredible diversity of talent and the potential for greatness in every human being. But every single one of us, if we ever achieve anything in life, it's because of relationships. Strengths needs to be a lifetime journey, not a one-time experience. Strengths needs to be everywhere. You are those that will take strengths everywhere. And to have a coach who deeply understands who you are and how you think and how you behave and how you feel can really be a powerful help at every transition point in your life. But we not only need the strengths movement to go broadly across the planet, we also need strengths to go deeply into each individual. You are my heroes because you are taking strengths everywhere and to everybody. It's time, my friends, to spark a movement of strengths in every home, in every school, in every community, in every state, in every nation across the world. It's also time to light a spark within each individual, to help them find their inherent value, to see their God-given potential, and to become the person that they were meant to be. You are my heroes. It's time for all of us together, and we can do this, to take strengths to everyone, everywhere, so everyone can rise up. We wake up, and this is who we are. These are our natural patterns. And so understanding ourselves and our potential and how to achieve what Don Clifton sought for every human being, which is excellence and success. The Clifton Strengths instrument with coaching can unlock human potential like nothing I've ever seen. The magic of strengths is taking the results of the assessment and providing the feedback, providing the coaching, helping people believe in themselves again, doing what Debbie Kratke did in Tarrant County, which is helping 500 ex-offenders actually see that they have value as a human being. It's taking Michael Daphne in the slums of Costa Rica working with ex-prostitutes who are now building safe havens for former sex trafficking victims and sex workers and trying to provide a place for them to be safe and grow and develop as human beings. And Mike showing a Surface tablet computer to this 57-year-old woman who'd never seen a computer in her life. And she takes Clifton Strengths Finder on that device and then through a translator gets coaching from Mike. And with tears in her eyes, he says, "How does this make you feel?" And she said, "I've never used a computer. I like computers." And then she said, "And this makes me feel more human." Every human being born on this planet deserves a coach like that. Someone who cares, someone who sees the intrinsic value. Don Clifton saw value in every human being. But he not only saw value, but he could describe it. He could give a language to it, and that's a great gift to the entire world. This is a special company with a special mission. Actually, I think it's a special company that fuses two missions, which is why I think the combination of Gallup and the Clifton Strengths allows all of us to see things and do things that no other organization on the planet enables. Literally on June 21st, when Jim Clifton published an article about how 7 billion people need a coach, and how we're going to raise up an army of coaches around the world to further human development, that very day, Jim Clifton saw lightning strike our building in Washington, D.C. That very day. We had a power outage, caused our servers to go down for about an hour. That was a lot of energy coming into Washington, D.C. Now, when I landed at the Omaha airport night before last, 12:30 in the morning, it's the biggest lightning storm I'd seen in years. They shut down the baggage claim because it wasn't safe for the workers. The lightning was striking every few minutes. That's a lot of energy coming into this strength movement. And as Kristen said, this morning's speakers were just on message and kind of stealing thunder for those of us that come later. But I'm here to tell you there is enough thunder to go around for every one of us because lightning is striking everywhere you do strengths coaching. There's plenty of thunder to go around. Today is about the movement. Today is about you and the people you are going to coach. Today is about the ripple effect of how we can actually start a movement that is sustainable and spreads to the entire globe. So I want you to think for a moment about why you are here today. But every single one of us, if we ever achieve anything in life, it's because of relationships. So let's talk about strengths, not just as a one-time experience, but let's talk about strengths as a lifelong journey for every human being that's born into this world to the day they die. This is not an elitist meritocracy. This is a universal truth that all human beings have talent and potential. I actually think the universe is taking notice of what's going on. It's time, my friends, to spark a movement of strengths in every home, in every school, in every community, in every state, in every nation across the world. It's also time to light a spark within each individual, to help them find their inherent value, to see their God-given potential, and to become the person that they were meant to be. What a great place it would be if on this planet, if in every home, in every classroom, in every school, in every workplace, people were allowed, invited, encouraged, and celebrated for doing what they love to do and what they do best. It's time for all of us together, and we can do this, to take strengths to everyone, everywhere, so everyone can rise up. If there are 10,000 people in the room, everybody is great, is better at something than everybody else in the room. Right? Every leader needs to realize you can't be Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill. You can't be Colin Powell. You can't try to imitate the leadership style of any other human being. It just won't work. You have to authentically be who you are, but you can be a leader. Let's talk about strengths, not just as a one-time experience, but let's talk about strengths as a lifelong journey for every human being that's born into this world to the day they die. That nothing happens until someone expects something of you in ways you can achieve. Strengths needs to be a lifetime journey, not a one-time experience. So most of us have a role in our life where we are a leader. And so strengths-based leadership teaches us how to lead with each of our strengths and how to lead others based on their strengths. What a great place it would be if on this planet, if in every home, in every classroom, in every school, in every workplace, people were allowed, invited, encouraged, and celebrated for doing what they love to do and what they do best. What an incredible world this will be. So many fewer misunderstandings. So much more harmony if we actually accommodate the different styles that each strength requires. Today is about the movement. Today is about you and the people you are going to coach. Today is about the ripple effect of how we can actually start a movement that is sustainable and spreads to the entire globe. But he not only saw value, but he could describe it. He could give a language to it, and that's a great gift to the entire world. This is a special company with a special mission. Actually, I think it's a special company that fuses two missions, which is why I think the combination of Gallup and the Clifton strengths allows all of us to see things and do things that no other organization on the planet enables. And then what Don Clifton gave the world, the gift that he gives to all of us, is a very close-up view of our own self, our neurological pathways, our natural patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving, the thing that we are when we wake up and we can't not be it. We wake up, and this is who we are. These are our natural patterns. And so understanding ourselves and our potential and how to achieve what Don Clifton sought for every human being, which is excellence and success. The Clifton Strengths instrument with coaching can unlock human potential like nothing I've ever seen. Where are we going from here? The numbers are staggering. By 2004, 1 million people had taken Clifton Strengths. As the awareness grew, by 2010, 5 million people. And then it accelerated. And by 2014, 10 million people had taken Clifton Strengths. Today, we stand over 14 million, approaching 15, and clearly we will reach 20 million within just a couple of years. But the goal is not just the numbers. The goal is to change each life that Strengths can touch. And that really is all about you. It's all about your business practice of coaching. This is not only a holy universe taking notice moment, this is also a when in the course of human events moment. This is a when in the course of human development it became necessary to throw out all the myths of management, the myths of education that do so much damage to so many of our loved ones, because the system is standardized and it eats people up and chews them up and spits them out, because they can't conform to what some predetermined committee of curriculum builders decided ought to be what we learn and how we learn it and when we learn it. And Don Clifton, his strengths, philosophy, tool, and system can change all that if we do our part. Today, we are having, on average, 7,968 people take Clifton Strengths each day. 4 years ago, we were at a Christmas vacation in a beach house in Virginia. My nephew and niece showed up. We were all talking about StrengthsFinder. My kids love to talk about it. We were using the theme insight cards to figure out what a strength is, what it does, what it brings, what it needs, what it loves, and what it hates. And the kids were like eating it up. And Kenson and Ashley showed up, and they're like, "What's this?" So I explained it to them. I bought them a couple of codes. I let them use a laptop, and they both took StrengthsFinder. Ashley came out pretty excited. She saw her report. Kenson came out. His face was white. It was kind of weird. It's like, I've never seen anyone react so viscerally to this assessment. And he was like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe this. So we sit down and start talking. It turns out they both worked at Geico in Fredericksburg, Virginia, in sales, phone sales. And Ashley was the number one salesperson in that branch. She's a competitive athlete. She's got competition and achiever in her top 5, and she loved her job. She was outperforming everybody, including Kenson. Kenson hated his job. He was so miserable. He couldn't stand going to work. He felt guilty every time he sold an insurance policy. He's like, I don't know if they can afford it. I feel really bad, like, even telling them about this product. Okay, not exactly the right kind of person you would have in sales. So when he read his report, he said to me, all I've ever wanted to do in my life is help people, to help kids. I just want to do that. I want to counsel. And his family was pressuring him to go into business and get an MBA like his brothers had, and Kenson just wasn't feeling that. So 2 months later, Kenson quit his job. He got a master's degree in family and marriage therapy. He's now a certified strengths coach at Southern Virginia University, counseling hundreds and hundreds of students, and he got a straight A's in his master's program. He's engaged fully. He loves his job every single day. Kenson will touch thousands of lives through strengths. Don has a great quote in Soar with Your Strengths, which is a book about helping every person experience success and excellence. And he puzzled over this. While coaches and trainers are often credited with the success of Olympic athletes, similar relationships in business and education are rarely valued. I think we can overcome that reluctance to hire a coach for people. So how do we go from where we are today to where we all know we need to be? Bundling strengths and coaching and reaching every part of the globe. Don Clifton observed that. He observed the incredible diversity of talent and the potential for greatness in every human being. So let's talk about strengths, not just as a one-time experience, but let's talk about strengths as a lifelong journey for every human being that's born into this world to the day they die. The strengths represent their pathways to excellence, to greatness, to success. We have actually a lot of work that has been done over the years about how to apply strengths in different careers, in different professions. If you're in sales, you don't have to have a particular set of 5 themes. We all know that. But if you're in sales and you have relator, how can you use your relator to be successful in sales? I think one of the most interesting things that I learned my first 6 months as a Gallup employee was from Jeremy Breckheisen in our San Francisco office. He said, Paul, a lot of sales managers basically say, this is how you sell. I'm going to give you the script, I'm going to give you the process, and they dictate the behavior, and they try to motivate everybody in the exact same way. For example, if a sales manager says, we got to have record sales this week, let's have a competition, and whoever closes the most sales today gets a $500 bonus. Okay, what happens to the sales team? Half of them, the ones who have competition, are like, yes, I love this, I know I'm going to win. And they go jump on the phone, and the other half are demotivated by the same tactic because they might have relationship themes. They may be relationship salespeople, and they don't care about winning or competing against each other. And so one manager's well-meaning attempt to create momentum and growth actually backfires for half the people because everyone's different. So the strengths-based selling materials can be extremely useful for managers and sales trainers to realize, don't try to dictate the process. Try to say, here's our goals, now sell in the best way that you can. I know of strengths coaches who've been coaching hundreds and hundreds of salespeople with dramatically measurable impact. Sales growing year over year by a minimum of 30% because they're not only trained how to sell the product or what products to sell, but how to sell it using their strengths. So I felt honored that she knew me that well. And if all of us can understand the strengths of our children and our coworkers and our colleagues and our family and friends and optimize every interaction by playing to their strengths the way we communicate with them, what an incredible world this will be. So many fewer misunderstandings, so much more harmony if we actually accommodate the different styles that each strength requires. So now looking back on Gallup's engagement scores around the world, the parable that I read indicates that some of the difficulties that young people face in the school system, such as failure and humiliation, leads to disengagement. It leads to hopelessness. And as we've polled the school-aged children in this country for several years now, what we find is a troubling trend, and this happens every single year. Fifth graders are pretty engaged, 75% in our latest poll. Ninth graders, only 41% are engaged in school, in learning, and 34% by 12th grade. This is not right. This is upside down. Life should be lived in a crescendo, not a decline. And I believe that if we start kids out on the right path, by helping them early to see the strengths they have in themselves and having parents, teachers, and caregivers who understand that life is about growth, it's about development. A strengths-based approach could take young people who are still kind of uncertain about their path and then can give them appropriate development opportunities, and pretty soon they won't be walking or crawling, they will be soaring with their strengths. I just want to comment on one of those chapters. Strengths develop only in relation to another human being. I think Don studied individuals for so many years, but he also heard individuals talking about how they became successful, and it always involved relationships. Every single one of us can trace our successes in life to relationships. People that invested in us, people that cared about us, people that said things to us that gave us hope, people that opened doors for us. Sometimes we knew they opened the door, and like Roy Spence, sometimes they were behind the scenes opening the door and co-signing on a $5,000 loan without us knowing. But every single one of us, if we ever achieve anything in life, it's because of relationships. There is something that happens on day 5 of the Accelerated Strengths Coaching course. It's the end of the 4.5 days. It's after early morning, as you get into the session closing, and there's an hour or an hour and a half of individuals who have gotten to know each other very deeply and very authentically over a 4.5 day period, especially with some evening dinners and some morning breakfasts and 90% interactive coaching throughout those 4.5 days. And all of a sudden, you not only know somebody better than you've probably ever known anyone after 5 days, but also you have language and insights into their heart and soul that you've never been able to see in anyone that quickly. And so what happens, and you can all remember this moment, when the person you were paired with during that week will stand up and read the most beautiful tribute to you that you've ever heard in your life. There's something transcendent about that moment. Every time I can, I go on day 5 and I sit and witness this. And I see tears, and I see hugs, and I see lifelong friendships being formed and cemented in this incredible 5-day period. The other day, we did a study and found that there are 150 organizations throughout the world who have at least 5,000 employees or 5,000 students who have taken Clifton Strengths. 150. But Jim Clifton said to me the other day that there are 100,000 organizations in the world that have between 500 and 10,000 employees. So we have barely scratched the surface of what's possible. Now, we found out 2 years ago that 94% of the Fortune 500 have at least dabbled with Clifton Strengths. So the opportunity, we look at that iceberg and we're like, that's pretty big, and then we realize under the surface, there is a massive number of organizations that have a tiny little exposure to Clifton Strengths, and what they need is they need you to come in and help them see the bigger picture. They need to help you, they need your help in seeing the benefits and the results that happen, that we all know happen, with organizations that embrace this. You are my heroes because you are taking strengths everywhere and to everybody. From ex-offenders in Tarrant County to the slums of Costa Rica, to the universities in Afghanistan, to the United Way in Detroit, to the youth mentoring programs in Nebraska, to the schools, to the universities, to the CEOs, to the admirals in the Pentagon. You're taking the theory, the philosophy, the assessment, and the coaching that can transform individuals to everybody. You are my heroes. Don Clifton observed that there's talent in every person. And the talent that he observed is a pathway for every person to experience greatness. He said if there are 10,000 people in the room, everybody is great, is better at something than everybody else in the room. This is not an elitist meritocracy. This is a universal truth that all human beings have talent and potential. So Don observed that all human beings either have strengths that are relationship-oriented, that are influencing-oriented, that are strategic thinking, that are executing-oriented. And all of us now have the ability to go out and help everybody find what their strengths are.